Hi there and welcome to Darlene's Creative Studio. I was working on a project recently for my granddaughter. She asked for an old vintage looking book to put some of her, she likes Harry Potter and magical stuff, so she wanted an old vintage book that looked like something from back then to put some of her Harry Potter stuff in and her witchcrafty stuff in. So I was going through all of my old books and I did find these were the covers. They're kind of that book cloth. They have like the little tweedy feel to the covers. It was 1 3/4 inches, I believe. Oops, upside down. Well, it's a 2-inch spine. But I did find this book. I had a couple of them. And all I do for my spines is when I rip the book all apart, the spines are very flimsy, so I've just taken a piece of poster board, which isn't, it's a heavy duty poster board, and I just recut a spine and I leave it about I'm going to say a 1/4 of an inch away from the edges, and I just put a spine in there. I cut a piece and I glue it in, and then I take one of the end papers from the book. I always save the end papers from my books, and then I just glue that down over top so that it looks like one continuous piece. Now this will be covered, but if anything shows through, at least you will see something that's nice and clean and not that spine. So instead of the raw spine, which is that little piece of craft paper there, I've just glued a piece of this. So I've made it probably like I leave that little gap there and I glue this down and then add the end paper on top. So all I've done, and I'll just show you the somewhat finished product. This is what I made for my granddaughter. And I just want to make sure I'm still in camera. Yes, I am. So I've painted the outside with some paint, and then I spray it with a matte finish acrylic sealer. I've added the corners to the corners of the book to give it that look. And again, this is just some of the color of the book coming through, plus a little bit of paint. I've taken, this was, I guess they're from door pieces. I have all these little metal pieces that I bought from a junk store, and I just added that on as decoration and then added a button there just to give it something on the spine. Added the book plate and the little peg. And then I have the eyelet on the side with the elastic. So that just closes it up. Now she wanted something to put stuff in, so I've made her a hide-a-box. And what I've done on the inside is put some of this upholstery fabric that I got at a thrift shop last week. I just love this, and I had set this aside, and then I just thought this will work perfectly. Now what I'm going to do for her is I'm just gluing this together now. It's probably dry. So this is the chipboard, and I'm just going to cover this in fabric, and I'm going to make her a little divider that she can slide in there if she wants to store things in it. I'm just going to leave that separately because I don't know if she wants to put maybe her journal in here, and she could set that inside the box and then close it up. I'm not sure what she wants to use it for, but she came over the other day and told me all about these things that she'd been collecting, and I thought this would be perfect. So I'm just going to walk you through really quickly, not so much a tutorial, but how I'm doing this. So again, I've just taken the book, added the spine piece, and put the end paper on top, and that was just, like I say, a thin piece of paper that was in the book, that was at the end of the book. I saved those, and I just cut it to fit, and then I just glued it in there. So that is the inside. Now I'm taking and I'm using raw umber, and I've just put it in a little paint tin, and I'm just painting the edges, inside of the edges right now, just to cover up some of that red. And the raw umber is a really nice dark brown that is kind of that vintagey old book cover color. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint around the edges of the book, so that we will have the inside will be finished off like that, because that's the part that will be showing when I put the box inside, and then I'm going to paint the outside as well. Okay, so for the outside of the book, I'm just taking my raw umber and I'm just going to paint over this red, and it's a very faded red, so And I'm just using some raw umber folk art paint that I had in my closet. And I'm painting on top of, this is a cereal bag from inside a cereal, one of my cereal boxes. This stuff is great because you can just wipe it all off. Once you're finished, I'll just take it in my kitchen with a damp cloth and wipe it all off. Now this doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to be blending in some other colors. But I just want to get this covered. Like that. And then I took some burnt sienna. And I've just added some odd maybe it doesn't want to put. There we go. Little bits of the burnt sienna, and you just kind of dry brush it in, and it gives you that nice two-tone effect of old leather. And I'm just using it right on top of the paintbrush where I had the raw umber. Come on. You can tell that's old paint. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to wipe some of that off onto my dish there. And if you get a big spot that you don't really like too much, just dip it back in into your raw umber. There. And that just gives it that look of leather. And I didn't do over this little animal, this little emblem, because I think it looks kind of mystical and magical. So I'm just going to leave that, and then I'm going to do the spine. So let's throw some more raw umber in here. And again, I'm not really washing off my brush in between layers. I'm just using what's on my brush. Spine, and then we'll just paint this side. Bit more to finish this corner here. There. Like that. My brush keeps leaving hairs behind, so let's get that hair out of there. And then we'll just add little bits of this. And just scrub it in there. And, oops, let that hair stuck to me. Then I let it dry, and then I'll go back in and add any more color that I feel that it needs, and I'll get out those little bits of, this brush is not very good, but it's the little hair pieces that are sticking there. like that. So that's how I make it kind of vintage and old, and then I will just spray it with this acrylic sealer, a matte finish, to kind of finish it off. And then before you actually start to build the insides, this is when I will put on, if I'm going to put a book plate on the front or something on the spine or my corners, I will put all that on before I start building the box and covering the inside, so that it will hide all the brads and any attachments and everything. So I'm just going to let this dry, and then I'll see if I need to add anything else. I'll give it a quick spray, and then we'll start on the hardware. Okay, I've sprayed the book and I'm just letting it dry. Now I have this big box of little metal pieces that were from, I guess, door handles. You put these behind cabinet door handles. The one side is very rustic and the other side is the gold color. And I used on this particular book one of these, and I've just painted it up a little bit and then sprayed it. So I have these two types here, and then I also have this one, which sits up a bit, and that one's kind of neat, but I would have to paint it as well. And then I had one other one. Oh, I do. I have this one. And then I have this guy as well. That's a little more square in the center, and I painted him silver. I just want to see if I have another one of him. I think I painted them, a couple of them silver, just to see what they would look like. And I just got these from a local market around the corner from us. Oh, there's another. Now this one has a little peg where I guess you're supposed to drill a hole to hold it in. That's for a key. Looks like, well, no, it's not actually. It's for behind the handle. So that one's kind of neat as well, but I don't like that little pokey hole thing that you have to put in there. But those are neat as well. So I have a couple of different ideas to choose from here. I'm just going to, oh, and I have this one as well. And again, it has that little hole. I'm just going to quickly go through these to see some of the ideas. Okay, so that's all of them. I also have this little guy. And this one reminds me of an owl. I don't know why. With the two holes and the little, but it's a, I guess it's some kind of a doorknob holder or something. But I thought that would be neat, spray painted black maybe, and put on something, maybe on the front of a book. So I might spray paint that one black. I might take them all out and just outside and just give them a quick spray paint. I'm just looking for another one of those that is not painted silver, and I don't think I have any more of those. All right. So those are my choices. So I'm going to set this guy aside. So these will be some ideas for the spine, and I'm going to decide on those. And then these are some of the book plates I have that I'm going to decide for the front as well. So I'm going to take these outside and I'm going to give them a quick spray paint with some black, and then we'll decide which one we're going to use. So the outside is now finished. I've added a book plate and used 2 brads to put those on. I've added my corners to the edges of the book. And then I added a piece of that trim. It was gold and I painted it black, and then I just kind of scuffed it up a bit. And I've added a little button, and I have attached this with some brads. And the reason you put this on first is that you can hide the brad legs. I put masking tape over top of them to kind of hold them in place. And then you're going to insert your box and the coverings on top of that. The only thing I don't put on now is my little fastener hitch, because I put that right through the fabric once I get that finished. So that is what the front of the book is going to look like. And there's the side and the back. And then what I'm using on the inside of this, I'll just move this guy out of the way. I'm going to use this fabric. Again, this is a piece of upholstery fabric that I bought at a thrift store. It was a great big huge bag of samples. So this is going to be my inside cover. And I'm actually not going to walk through the steps of making the box. I actually have a video on making the Hide-a-Box book. It's on my YouTube channel, and it shows you how to create the box, add the fabric and everything, and then glue it into the book. But this is what I'm going to be using. My first one, I used a very similar fabric with some flowers on it. And then this one will have the brown, smaller flowers. And I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to create the box with the fabric on the inside and assemble the box. And then you get some of the black fabric and you cover some poster board. And that becomes the front, and you only do the 3 sides and tuck it behind the box. Glue the box down, glue the spine. You have to put this piece on first, and then you glue the box to the spine, because you have a little tail that hangs down behind that box. And again, I have another video that will show you that whole process. If you want to add something here, some of my toolboxes, I have like little elastics that you could stick a pencil or a pair of scissors or whatever you're going to use the box for. You would add all that to this piece before you glue it on. So I might get all this prepared, and then the person that it's for is actually coming over this afternoon. I will ask them if they would like me to add maybe a little piece of elastic where I could put a pen holder for them, so that if I do make it with a divider like this one, now this one's a removable divider, but if I do put that divider in there, you have to make sure that the divider is small enough that when you close the box, the pen that is in the pen holder does not hit the top of that divider. And that's something I learned the hard way. So this divider would have to be a little shorter. So you would have to have it the width of a pencil. So it's almost short enough. It would have to be a little bit shorter. And if she wanted to do this, if I had the removable one, you could just cut the end off, the bottom off of that divider and make it smaller. Or you can add another little pocket here. You could sew that on before you glue it to the inside of the book. So that's just some options you have there. So that's her removable divider. I'm just going to cut that little piece of string off. And that's the only problem with the removable, is that it'll cause little bits of material to fly up and everything. So if she wants it in there, I will glue it in there for her. But I'm going to leave that until she arrives, and then she can let me know. But this particular one, I've started on the box already. So there's my base, and I've got all the sides. I just got to glue them up, and that will be what I call the inside of the box, and then I will do the black fabric around the outside. And when it's all done, I will show you when it's complete. Here is the completed journal hide-a-box. I've added the metal piece to the side with the brads, and I've glued on a button there. So I've got all kinds of little fluff and stuff stuck to it from sitting it on the counter. I've added the fastener hitch and an eyelet and some elastic. And then on the inside, I've added the box. And this is a little bit different fabric. Again, I glued this on first, then glued the box in, and then glued the spine to the side of the box. I've added the hitch fastener. Because it was a little thicker, I had to use a different screw than what came with the fastener. But all in all, it turned out really well. I'm really happy with the insides and the look of the vintage book. And I just gotta clean all that little bits of, I laid it on top of my glue top table. Anyway, so that's for my daughter. And the other one I made for my granddaughter. Just getting it from the, and this is the other one. Again with the little thing on the side. And this is just painting the box. And then she's added her little divider in there, and she says she's just going to leave that in there. And that's the two different upholstery fabrics that I got at the thrift store. These are just little sample sizes, and that's what I use for the interiors of the boxes. And black fabric on the outside. And again, I will put the link to my video on how I made the hide-a-box, made the box out of chipboard. So you can try it yourself just with an old vintage book. Thanks so much for watching. Just a quick little video, and we'll see you real soon.